I got a gripe. I have a gripe, and then we'll get into the episode. Listen, people, stop spitting. Now, I shouldn't say people, men. Let's stop spitting. Let's keep that extra saliva in the mouth and then down the throat. Nobody fucking wants to jump out of the way of you spitting, okay? Nobody fucking wants to see you spit. Nobody wants to sit there and trip on your big thing of spit on the concrete, okay? Another thing, men, when I go into a urinal, women, if you don't know what a urinal is, it's this really gay-like thing that there's no partition between. It's a place where, in the restroom, men can look at other men's dicks, okay? I never use them. I always go into a stall because I don't need anyone looking at my fucking small dick. But I digress. Sometimes, if it's the only thing available, I do. And when I go up to the urinal and I look down and I see a piece of gum that a man has spit out in there, it enrages me to the extent of wanting to light my hair on fire, okay? Do you understand when you spit that piece of gum in the urinal, someone has to pick that out of there? Someone that gets paid way less than you, that gets treated way worse than you at their job, they now have to go into the urinal with pee and everything. I mean, sometimes I've seen shit in urinals, okay? Literal shit. Someone has taken a fucking shit in the urinal, okay? And they have to pick up that fucking piece of gum that you were too fucking lazy to either swallow, like the garbage person that you are, or spit it the fuck out. But I'd rather you spit it in the urinal than spit that fucking gum on the street and me step in it. I had a friend in Vegas, and she was very, so I guess this isn't only men, okay? But she was very much like a hall monitor. She very much wanted the world to be better, it to be correct, all these different things. One day she took her piece of gum out, and she went like this. She started to like tacky it up, and she threw it out the window. I said, "You have got to be fucking kidding me." And she goes, "What? That's my favorite thing to do." I said, "Listen, bitch, that's called polluting. That is gum. It's sticky. Someone may step in that. And then you're going to ruin that person's day by stepping in the gum." When I first moved to LA, I stepped in a human shit. Now, that is unrelated to anything because that has nothing to do with spit. I just wanted to say that I had to step in human shit. And the reason I knew it was human is because it was so rancid, and it didn't, I picked up dog shit my entire life, and I had never smelled something like that, bitch. It was a fucking human shit on Hollywood Boulevard, not shocking, and Franklin, I think. I can't remember the cross streets of where I stepped in the shit. But I digress. People, stop spitting. Stop spitting. Obviously, stop shitting on the streets, but if you're homeless and you have nowhere to go, and specifically in LA where they charge people, you have to put a fucking quarter in a McDonald's to take a fucking shit, I get why you're shitting on the streets. But can we stop spitting on the streets? Please. I don't want, one time I remember this guy spit and I had to like get out of the way. And I did. And let's stop moving out of men's way. Let's just fucking run into them, okay? Fuck them. Fuck them. They sit there and say that they're the most unemotional people, yet they're the ones motherfucking going in everywhere and shooting everyone, bitch. Are they? They're spitting and they're shooting. Shooting and spitting. Let's get into the fucking real episode. Let's get into it, bitch. What are we talking about today? Oh, we're talking about how my parents lied to me as a child and how that made me distrust them going into adulthood. Hi, welcome back. Welcome back to the Hall Monitor of the Universe show. Dun 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 dun. I'm just kidding. Today I thought long and hard for a subject. What am I gonna do? I lost my mustache. It's gone. I don't know if there was an episode with my mustache on here, but the mustache is finito. Bye-bye. See you later. But I want to talk about family. Specifically, I grew up thinking until I was around 11, 12 that my stepdad was my actual dad. My parents Well, my mom and my stepdad lied to me. And my mother's explanation for it is quite hysterical, so let's get into it. So I always say that I'm from Las Vegas, but I was born in Las Vegas. I originate from a little teeny tiny, teensy-weensy little town outside of Las Vegas called Boulder City. No, it is not Colorado. That's what everyone thinks. Boulder, Colorado. No, it's Boulder City, Nevada. And it's not Nevada. It's not Nevada. It's Nevada. And I don't give a fuck what you say, where you're from. Unless you're from Nevada and you're saying Nevada, you should most likely be shocked. But it's Nevada. I don't even understand why these TV shows, there's always this confusion about it being Nevada and Nevada. Bitch, if I hear Nevada, okay, anyways. So, was raised in this teeny tiny little town called Boulder City. The cool thing about it is it's where Hoover Dam is. You know, the Lake Mead, the lake that everyone is so upset that it's sinking. There is going to be no lake here pretty soon. But it is, in fact, we call it a man-made lake, which I don't know if only men helped make that dam, but it most likely should be called person-made lake. We need to stop saying man with everything. Did you know that man is in woman? Like, we cannot get away from men. They have literally human. It should be Hugh woman. Hugh woman. Anyways, I'm getting off track. Listen. What am I talking about? What? So my mom was also born in Las Vegas. She was adopted by my Nana and my Papa. My Nana, unfortunately, could not have children. So my Nana adopted 2 kids. I think within a year of one another, my uncle and my mom. And I do think my Nana, although she's passed now, and my Nana was, if you look through my content, like, my Nana was my best friend. I used to do videos with her all the time. She is where my comedy comes from. My mom is very, very, very funny, too. So I get a lot of my comedy from my mom. But my Nana is just such a comical person. And she used to embarrass me. She used to stop strangers and tell them jokes. And I'm going to tell you kids something, like, stuff like that embarrasses you in the moment. But when they aren't doing that stuff anymore, when they're not here to do that stuff anymore, you would pay anything to get them to tell a dumb joke to a stranger. And I think about that all the time. I think about my Nana and how I used to get so annoyed when she would tell a stupid joke and stop a stranger. And I'm like, oh my God, these people don't care. And now I'm telling you, I miss her so much that even the annoying things, like, I would pay anything to see that. So my mom and my Nana's relationship was always bad. From what I can remember, it was always bad. But from what she tells me now, my Nana was really hard on her. She wanted her to be, like, the prettiest, the smartest, all these different things. She held my mom at a way different standard than she held her brother, my uncle. And it really fucked with my mom. I think my mom, if she would have been loved differently by my Nana, she wouldn't be as hard of a person as she is today. And I also think she would be way more trusting of people. But those weren't the cards for her. And my mom, before my Nana, I really had no peace. Like, they had no closure. They had nothing. So I always do feel bad because I had such a wonderful relationship with my Nana. And I am so grateful that I was able to have such a blossoming and great relationship with her. So from what I've been told, my mom and my real dad, they met. She was working downtown Las Vegas. She was, I believe she was probably like 20, 21. And she was working at an ice cream shop. And she met my dad. And not good, okay? And so I should be very clear, like, when I actually call my dad, my stepdad dad, because he did raise me, and after all this shit I'm about to tell you, I did get through it, I did get to the other side of it, and I got over it. But it was really hard. So anyways, my mom met my dad, my real dad, David, he super abusive from what my mom says, to the extent of when they were pregnant with me, he did something, who knows, probably cheated, slapped her, punched her, something. And he tried to make up while she was pregnant with me. Big belly, everything. My mom had this Z, okay? Like, back in the day, the Zs were like the sports car. They were really cute. And she said that he tried to give her flowers and chocolates, and my mom attempted to run him over with her car. So this is the kind of stuff that I was in the womb, like, hearing, dealing with, all this kind of nonsense, right? So my mom ends up having me. Apparently, from what I've been told, I don't remember this, we were all intermixed. Like, I got to know my grandparents back then when I was a kid. I got to know my aunts, my uncles. My dad's side, my real dad's side of the family, they're like Trump lovers, Republican. This is later on in life, but I am glad that I never got to, like, really get involved with them, because they are very much the crazy conspiracy theory people. I have siblings on the other side. I have a gay brother on the side with my dad. It is wild. And this is another thing. And we'll get to it, but when I met my dad, it wasn't great. My real dad. It wasn't great. It wasn't this meeting that I thought. But let's get in how I figured out at 11 or 12 that, and I say 11 or 12 because, bitch, I don't know. It could be like 9 to 14. I don't fucking remember. I disassociated. I was abused as a child consistently. I was mentally and I was physically abused by my parents, and that's not in this story, but this is one of the mental abuses that we're about to talk about as to why it is so hard for me to trust people, because when the people that are taking care of you lie to you about something as big as this, you have trust issues growing up. So we were living in Boulder City. We were living in a 3-bedroom house. There were 6 of us. This is pretty normal back in the 90s, okay? I mean, it's pretty normal to everyone to share rooms, all that. No, did we have 4 bedrooms? I think the garage was converted. Yeah. But me and my brother stayed in the same room. My 2 sisters stayed in their room. My parents in their room. Then we had like a playroom, which was the garage. And I was going through something. I can't remember. I was being fucking nosy as a kid, as you do, but we were bored. We were locked up in the house. My parents rarely, I just remember my mom never wanted me to go outside. She never wanted me to play. If she did, it would be like I would beg and cry and plead to go out. So we were always like cooped up in the house with nothing to do. So of course, kids are going to go find shit to do. So I found this book and I opened this book. Okay, and it was one of those Precious Moments book. If you remember, I think they're called Precious Moments, but they're those little, they're all white, little angel baby, like little mannequins. And it was this book, and I opened it up, and there was a family tree in it, and it was my family tree, and on one side it had my last name, but it wasn't matching the last name of my stepdad. And then with the last name, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I was bamboozled. So I take it out. I'll never forget. I took it out to my stepdad and my mom, and I was like, what is this? I'm so confused. Why would if my mom's trying to keep this a secret, why would she not throw that out, is what's crazy to me. And now I don't even know. I'm sure it has been thrown out because I've never seen it since. But my mom looked at it, and she knew right away what it was. And she goes, you are so nosy. Why are you getting into things that is none of your business? And she started to do the gaslighting, the very much, she's embarrassed. She got caught lying. She's been telling me my entire life that this man who has been taking care of me is my biological father, when he is not my biological father. He didn't donate anything. He just swooped in and fucking played a game. And I do remember my stepdad in the moment saying we should have told him, he should have known growing up that I was not his fault. And my mom, being the person that runs everything in her life, she looked at him and she's like, shut up. Like, this has nothing to do with you. And then that goes into he's not your kid. Like, that's when she'll use, he's not your kid. But this whole time, essentially, he took me in. And that's the other thing. I do think my stepdad didn't love me as much as the other kids, and I still think that. And I don't think that there was any way to fix it. I think he looked at me as a bastard. Like, I think he looked at me as someone that he wanted nothing to do with. He didn't need to have anything to do with. Like, I just see now why I was treated so differently than my siblings, because I was in fact not his child, right? So that began in me something that I had already thought prior. Like, I knew my parents had lied to me about stupid shit growing up. Now they're lying to me about big fucking shit growing up. So I completely, from there on out, did not trust them. And I grew a bigger bond with my mom's mom, my Nana, because she kind of came in too, and she's like, I didn't agree with them lying to you. She told me about my dad a little bit. My dad, what she told me at that time was my dad was, all she knew was he was a valet driver. He'd been a professional valet driver in Las Vegas his whole life. And he really loved me, is what my Nana told me, okay? My mom hadn't told me anything about the abuse that she went through with David, but I come to find out this shit by myself. So I get to high school, and in order to graduate, I have to have my legal last name. So another fun fact about all this is my stepdad decided, I don't know why, but he didn't adopt me out. I think it's because he never really, he just didn't want to. And so therefore I went by one last name my entire life, which I thought was my last name. And now, as I'm graduating high school, I have to change it to a completely last name. And as I'm leaving, I have a completely different last name. And it was weird. It was weird. It was weird having to explain it to people. I didn't even understand it really myself. But when I turned 18, I was allowed to do what I wanted to do. So I reached out to my dad, David. And so going back just a little teeny tiny bit, my mom did get him to sign all his rights over to her. So he wasn't allowed to contact me. He wasn't allowed to do any of that. So she had full... She said later on in life, she was like, the reason that I didn't let you go by your last name is because I thought he was going to come and grab you. And I didn't believe her at first, but now getting to know him and meeting him, I can totally see. If you ever saw Kindergarten Cop, girl, that's what she was worried about, girl. Kindergarten Cop, Arnold Schwarzenegger saving a kid from school, baby. You haven't seen it? Lovely. Look it up. So I grab a couple of... So I'm going to meet my dad for the first time. My real dad for the first time. I'm so excited. I'm thinking in my 18-year-old head, this is the reason I'm all fucked up. Because I haven't met my real dad. This is the kind of stuff that's always on all the TV shows I watch. 90210, Melrose Place, all these dramas. Once you find your real parent, then you will be whole. You won't be this, crazy person, right? Well, coinciding with that, I came out of the closet as queer. And, I was here, I was queer, and get used to it. That's how I was feeling at that time, right? I was like, I don't care. And I mean, that's how everyone should feel. You shouldn't give a fuck. If you come out as queer and people don't appreciate it or love you for it, fuck those fucking people. You don't need them in your life. So, a couple of the girlfriends, we go to this Mexican restaurant. I meet my real dad at this Mexican restaurant, and I have a couple of the girls go to another table and sit close by and just be there as a support system, okay? So we go through this lunch, my dad and I. He doesn't look we don't look anything alike. I come to find out I look just like my mom. My siblings, nothing alike. I found out a couple things. So one, I had a sibling. No, sorry, I did meet the sibling. I forgot. She passed then. Okay, so I met one sibling, and she was very young, and she had cancer. And she ended up passing when she was very young. And very sad, and I think that really fucked my real dad up a little bit. But then I have two other siblings. Like I said, one was gay, or one is gay still. And, or maybe not. I don't fucking know. I don't know any, every time this kid comes into my life, I love him to death, but he comes in, and then he ends up blocking me and leaving. So I really don't do anything. So I don't understand this side of the family. But cut to meeting him, I find out about my siblings, and then I tell him that I'm queer. And David looked at me and said, well, no son of mine is gay. So no, that's not real. Um, so I attempt to have a relationship, even though he said that, I attempt to have a relationship. I meet my grandparents, who they were really sweet, but very, just very Republican, white, racist, crazy people. Like, I mean, the more I get to know them, and even the kids are like indoctrinated into like this crazy talk. And what's funny is I wanted to say to my dad, it's like, both of the gender assigned men that you made with your dick, both came out queer, okay? But they have two different moms. So let's do the math here, or the science. But guess what? You can't say that to them because, girl, they don't believe in math or science. Anyways, I meet this whole family. I start to get involved in this whole family, meanwhile hating my parents because they fucking lied, okay? Thus, years go by, and we all kind of fall out of touch. Mainly because my dad, my real dad, David, is so, he's doing drugs, he's constantly in and out of jail. Like, there's so many crazy things that this guy is doing that I am so glad, and I'm so grateful that my mom, even though I had so many issues with her lying to me about my real dad, I am glad that she removed me from the situation, because I don't think I know where my life would be if I was raised by someone that was in and out of the system. I don't know where my life would be if I was raised, I mean, I was raised in organized chaos, kind of. Like, I was raised in, I think, your typical kind of household in the 80s, 90s, where a lot was fallen upon the first child, which was me. We didn't really, the world wasn't as dangerous as it is now. So, like, leaving, your kids home with a 12-year-old, 3 kids, wasn't dangerous. Like, but this is the thing, like, I grew up like that, so I thought, well, fuck this. There's got to be something better out there. There's got to be, my mom pretty much held me hostage. My stepdad pretty much held me hostage watching these kids. And then I find this other family, and as the years go by, I see, oh my God, my mom did make the fucking right decision by pulling me out of there. Like, and the more I kind of talk to my mom about it, and the more she's opened up over the years, my dad would slap her around. My real dad would slap her around. He was very violent. I also found that out from my siblings. He was violent with them growing up too. So I guess the moral of the story is, kids, parents, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but parents do things, and in the moment sometimes we don't see why they're doing them, or that it makes any sense, or that it's not the best decision for you, but sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not. I'm not saying all the decisions, but if you have animosity towards a parent for a huge decision like this, about lying to you, who knows, maybe one day another door will open up and you'll see the full picture, But today I don't have any contact with my real dad, David, and that side of the family. I don't really have any contact with a lot of my family right now. I thought the pandemic would bring our family a lot closer, but in reality it kind of tore everyone apart. And the person that I talk to the most is my mom now, which is kind of crazy because we used to fight all the time. We hated each other. We were jealous of each other. I convinced myself she's a big fat liar because all she did was lie about my dad. And now we're the best of friends. I couldn't see my life without her. And if you knew me back then, when I wasn't talking to her, you know that this is a fucking miracle. That I was able to change, that she was able to change, and we were both able to meet each other at the table as adults, as consenting adults, and we were going to have this consenting adult relationship. So I say, like, if something like, I mean, if that happened with your parents, I mean, maybe they had a perfectly good reason, and maybe one day you will know what that reason is. Maybe you won't. I don't fucking know. I don't know your story. I do think also you have to be willing and open to look at your side of the fucking street a lot of the time. Oh, I know this is going to sound corny and I'm going to end on this, but family is who you choose to be family. It can be blood. It cannot be blood. It can be anything. It could be animals. It can be whatever you want it to be. Family is what you think family is. Okay? It's your interpretation on it. everything is our interpretation on it. Just remember, like, this is our world. It's our reality. It's what we make of it. So, your family is, sometimes your family is your work family. It doesn't have to be the people that raised you and conditioned you to perform on a stage. It doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be cousins or third cousins or aunts and uncles that you were forced to maybe like kiss or hug when you're a kid and you just fucking knew they were creepy, okay? It doesn't have to be that. It could be friends and family. I suggest if you're looking for community meetups, okay? Meetups are great. In LA, I did a lot of meetups and I met a lot of great people. Another suggestion, online recovery stuff. If you have any issues with any type of addiction, shopping, drugs, porn, people, codependency, alcohol, anything. There are groups out there that are free online. Recovery Dharma is a huge one. You can go online. There's meetings all the time, all around the world. You can meet people and get to know them online. You can do, there's in-person meetings, okay? There's so many things where you can find family that stuff like this, you just create your own family. Create what you need, okay? Because I know as a kid, I didn't get what I needed. I didn't get loved as the creative, sensitive person that I am, okay? So I turned into a harder version of me that as I'm getting older, I am softening. But it is hard because that hard exterior is built from a childhood of abuse, okay? And a lot of the times, unconditioning myself is way harder than the conditioning that is put on you by parents, by teachers, by bullies, by all that. So give yourself a break. Know that you are the only person in the world that is you. And you are fucking fantastic, okay? And please subscribe, like, share, and comment, review, please. Apple, Spotify, review. Only review if it's good, though. If it's not, fuck off. Oh, there's Paisley. She's getting up, girl. It's our my blind, diabetic, deaf dog girl. She hears one thing, she goes, starts barking at the wall, girl. She's barking at a wall. I love some of you. Bye.